Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to the garage on this Thursday evening. Good to see everybody, hope you're doing all right. Well, whenever I do a video, of course you comment. In fact, you comment loads and loads and loads and loads. And I found over time the best mechanism to deal with those comments are videos like this, where we go through, see what you had to say. I've not done one of these for probably a good couple of weeks now, actually. I thought it's high time that I did. Now, I did a video, and here's the thumbnail for it. Rachel causes outrage. Now, this, of course, is all about the taking away of the winter fuel payment, the possibility of the removal of the council tax discount for single occupants, bus passes, and anything else. And, of course, you all have things that you want to say about it. So what I wanted to do with this video is bring to the fore your comments. So here we go. Now, the first one. Olwyn Ogden, totally agree with you. Don't think the government cares about us that have worked all our lives. We are not asking a lot just to be able to live. You know, that's the key thing. If you ask just to be able to live, I've seen some of the figures of people that, you know, rely on state pensions and pension credit and housing benefits and everything else. You're literally on the breadline. You just about scrape through, and you're reliant on nothing going south. And when they say there's a £10 billion black hole, and then they take this away from you and then send a few billion quid elsewhere, it makes you wonder what the hell they're playing at. And by God, it does cause outrage. Mick Roberts, cannot get my head round why suddenly pensioners who paid into the systems throughout their working lives are now the enemy, according to this sorry excuse for a government. Well, a lot of them might have been Tory voters. I don't know whether that's got something to do with it. And we have a massive problem, don't we, with regard to the pension bill in this country. There's just out of control. And, you know, there's that and a few other things. You've got to think, what are they up to exactly? But, you know, if you know somebody that's older, phone them, check they're okay. Alex, it's far too easy to be critical of the Labour Party, although I fully agree that targeting the winter fuel allowance is an absolute disgrace. The present Labour Party is anything but leftist as suggested, but to me are further right than the Tories. It's accepted that the last government left a fiscal mess. That's why a quick election was called by Sunak. Nothing more, nothing less. Let's leave the other mob to sort out the mess philosophy. Like every other person on the planet, as a pensioner, I'm livid with Rachel Reeves, something backed by the real left of the party, the rank and file members and unions. This is the biggest political own goal I've ever seen from a party leadership that is disguised in Labour colours. I think they better think it out again. You know, Alex, it's always good when you get someone who's seen several elections, several generations of governments, and, you know, I'm getting the impression that you have. And there's no distinguishable features between the two main parties anymore, is there? Tories and Labour. There's no left, there's no right. There's a little spattering of everything with a mix in between, and they're all highly educated university toffs who've probably never had a real job in their lives, and it's completely disgraceful. I get that, you know, there's pensioners out there which probably don't need the winter fuel allowance because they've been in a fortunate position where maybe they made plans so they don't need it. But where they means test these things, they set the bar so low, there's going to be an awful lot of people that quite simply can't do without and will have to. And I've been sent some rather horrible screen prints of letters that people have been sent over time. Tom, this is not Labour or socialism. A lot of people was under the misconception that Labour was for the working class people. Now, as we can see, they've conned all who unfortunately voted for this selfish, vindictive cabal of self-serving scroungers who are out to line their own pockets and look after their mates. This is the thing, isn't it? And like I said in the last comment, there's no longer a difference between them, is there? They're all buying for that power. They're all buying for that prestige and what it's going to give them afterwards. And, there's no working people support. There's no, it's a complete mess, isn't it? It really is. And yes, we were conned. When you go into public office and you say you're going to do X, Y, Z, that's exactly what you should do. Okay, let's have a look. Teresa Constable. Nice to hear someone talk plain English and the truth. If he's going to put a cap on pensions, Onward earned money, he's going to do the same to his own pension, which he has left in offshore. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, isn't it? Whether it'll ever happen, I think there'll be a bloody riot if there is. You look at means testing pensions, which they have intimated, spoken about. Can you imagine what people would say, how people would act? You pay national insurance contributions for, well, all of your working life. I think it's about, 35 years worth you have to pay? And then to be told it's a benefit you may or may not get all of. No, I don't think so. We paid for it. You pay it. Thank you very much. And the difference is you look at something like universal credit. That is a benefit where we don't pay into that. That's support from the government. There's a difference. The pensions, we paid for it. Or at least we should have done. William, yet the so-called Haydewells have low education, low-paid jobs, have smoked, boozed, and not been frugal, now managed to get all the benefits. What sort of reward is that for people who've worked all their lives and paid their dues into the country? Yeah, I get the point. There is a lot of people out there that don't deserve it. Rosie, I'm not going to read the comment just in case, but yes, strange haircut. 00, I did say on YouTube that someone had said that 1.4 billion savings from the winter fuel allowance is the same amount of money they'll be sending to another country. You know what? That happened, and I know that was covered fairly quickly. As soon as this was announced, then I think within 24 hours, Lammy or somebody buggered off over to that other country and gave them billions. So a bit of a kick in the nuts, really, definitely. Michael, what have we got here? I have 2 gap years in my national insurance from when I become self-employed and didn't pay class 2 for those years. And I want to get my full state pension when I retire. Thinking I may make up the difference myself. Now they're talking about extending the age of retirement to 68. What is it at the moment? 67 for a bloke, isn't it? And I wonder, by the time I hang up my working shoes, whether I'll even get a state pension at all. Private pension pots aren't bad, but not enough to guarantee a sustainable income. This government don't give a shit about the working class and are only interested taking everything we've worked hard for. Now pensioners are going to suffer even more. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been thinking about this lately, and this is something that I'd advise my kids. When I was in my early 20s, I was too concerned with going down the pub, having a good time and not working, spending every bit of cash I had. And I suppose you do that when you're young and naive to the world, don't you? But you've got to start making plans at least 40 years in advance, because otherwise when you get to your 40s, your 50s, you're getting nearer that mark and you're not going to have enough money to support yourself when you retire. If you're even able to retire, I'm pushing 50 and I wanted to retire when I was 65 back in the day. But I've come to the realization lately that perhaps it might not happen. Maybe I'll have to work into my 70s, maybe early 80s. I don't know. I don't know. But, there's no end in sight. But we'll have to see what happens. But the point is, plan early. You've got to now. You really have got to. Victor, you could save a lot of money, by getting rid of old big ears and some of the royal hangers on. I knew someone that did a fair impression of him once, but yeah, how much money is involved there, I wonder. Since Her Majesty the Queen passed away, I start to question my beliefs in certain institutions. Anne, worked all my life and brought 2 sons up. I'm 71. The government makes me sick. They look after the wrong people. Anne Darlington. Well, I'll tell you what, Anne, you're roughly the same age as my mum. And one of the problems that she had was getting her pension at all. It's all right now, but it's it was when they were told, right, you can retire at, what was it, 55, something like that. And then it was moved, and then it was moved again, and then it was moved again. And you had all the waspy women, didn't you? And there was no compensation for them being messed about as much as they were. It really was a disgrace. But thank you for your comment. Andy, new fascist state on the horizon. Could be right. I mean, you end up in a position where people become reliant. This is what's going to happen next. There'll be handouts because people can't cope. And then you become reliant on the government tap. That's what I can see going on next. Thomas Rogers, my wife just suggested that we, the public, pay to have a purpose-built block of high-rise flats in London to accommodate all MPs currently renting second home accommodation in London. All electricity must come from renewables, and if there's an outage, tough. They must also pay fully unsubsidised rent, council tax and water rates. They must also use public transport. That'd sort the wheat from the chaff. It certainly would. I'll tell you what, and I've said this story before, there was a programme a few years back now where a group of individuals were challenged to live on job seekers allowance. I think it was only for a week or something like that. And one of the people was Michael Portillo. And he came out and he did this. And he said at the end, if I knew then what I know now, how difficult it can be, and bear in mind it's just a TV program, not real life, my decision making certainly would have been a lot different back then. So that was a very powerful statement. It kind of dawned on him, and it makes you realise a lot of these people in that Westminster bubble really haven't got much of a Scooby, have they? That's something else. Rick Band, Starmont and Reeves don't understand simple English or simple arithmetic, but they are experts in doublespeak. I will have £200 less to spend next year, so I'm £200 poorer. Simple. Everyone will feel the pinch. JD Records, funny Keir Starmer, member of the Law Society, is passing bills in Parliament to help his friend make money in the law courts. Yes. Is that cronyism? Lisa, the Indian gentleman property landlord immigrants in the UK as flats to them make workers earn a wage. Okay. Gerald Goodman, socialism doesn't work and never has. Nationalise your money and then waste it on crap policies. Yeah. And it's a redistribution of wealth as well, isn't it? And then all the people that can provide everything else, it's not great. They'll leave the country. Richard, the whole front bench are completely out of depth. A Chancellor who hasn't got a clue, a Home Secretary who's losing it over the boats scandal, a Foreign Secretary who hasn't got a clue, leader who talks rubbish and lies. Oh, help us. This is how people are feeling, isn't it? Derek, just shut Britain down, turn the lights off and leave. Yeah. I wonder how many people would get out if they could. That'd be an interesting poll. Roseanne Harper, a young man stood up and interrupted her speech today and was roughly dragged out, poor chap. Honestly, you're not allowed to say anything. It's terrible. That's kind of a double-edged sword, that, he stood up and heckled. But what if he stood up and his intentions were something else? I think it was more of a question to get rid of him quick and worry about questions and everything later. That's what it appeared to be to me, but we will see. Rose, she won't stand the criticism easy to make her cry. She knows she's done wrong by stopping the winter fuel tax when she claims a lot more for her second home shambles. Yeah, I did a live on that. She's just as bad as Starmer. Boring speech today, same old conversation. Can't stand the woman. That's Roseanne Harper again. Thank you very much. Malcolm, they need the money for the migrants, so the pensioners are paying up first. It's probably be the unemployed next. And they struggle enough, some of them definitely. Bobby Edwards, no tax on donations and gifts yet. Yeah, I think that's going to roll on, that one. Muriel Howes, why are they making life focus of pensioners? We've worked and served our country. You certainly have, and you should be looked after. Pride of Durham, interviewed MPs recite from pre-scripted answers. They do. Reeves on ITV Morning Show today was all triple lock, economy, stability. Yeah, you notice that when they're asked, and I saw a program, I think it was Good Morning Britain, with Susanna Reid and Richard Madeley. They had her on, and they asked her direct questions, and she just wouldn't go there. Wouldn't go there at all. It was, I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about and bugger your narrative. That's how it appeared. So, yeah, again, not good. Not good. A couple more comments. Let's see what you got to say. Here's another one. Mad Huliman Bachi 161. Sorry if I mispronounce that. I worked over 50 years of my life, paid taxes, national insurance. Reeves can only see penalising pension everywhere. She thinks can grab as long as she's comfortable. She's very selfish. Once calling Rishi, he never accepted the gifts like how you did, Reeves. Last one. No doubt that 10 million quid will be sent abroad, probably to some dictator's bank account to enable purchase of private planes, yachts, Swiss chalets, Spanish villas, etc. And that's Ernest. I mean, that is really the point, isn't it? What are they going to do with this money? Instead of using it here where it really needs to go. It's a big sham. It really is. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate all your comments as always. It's always nice to read them and give a bit of feedback because you all come from different places, different life experiences, and you've all got different things to say. And it's nice to see and nice to interact. I want to try and do something a little different with this kind of thing, make it a bit more interesting, and I'm giving that some thought. So we'll go down that way later. Again, thank you, everybody. Please hit the like button on this, just to help it spread, help the algorithm push it around. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I'd appreciate it if you could share it on social media. As always, I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.